Hello. Let's be honest, the only reason there is a third stream of this game is because I like the soundtrack. Hello. Let's see what's left for us. Huh? Is it not from here? Is it from a different? Is it from new game and then we select a... Ah, there we go. Roottreemania will spoil unlocked content. Okay. Okay. Ooh, a new tree. Hi. No?
Hi.
We know who you are.
Clark.
Yes.
Probably not who you expected to be knocking.
Definitely.
But life's funny sometimes.
Yeah. You were the one who had like 4 wives. I remember you. And you like slept with sisters. He has a child with one sister. And then he divorced her or broke up with her and married her sister. I know this guy. The lore.
You've done well staying anonymous. It took us a while to track you down.
Well.
A lot has happened in the last year.
Okay.
Far too much of it public.
Okay.
But there's stuff going on behind the scenes, too. I never wanted to be president. I'm not great with stress. And with my mother's deteriorating I'm sorry, I'm rambling. I'm not here for sympathy. I'm here because part of the fallout of Sam's book is that everyone's coming out of the woodwork.
Okay.
Now that it's public knowledge the Clancy Trust covers any Roottrees despite their history with us, a lot of potential cousins have surfaced.
Potential cousins?
You may have seen that man on the cover of News Time.
Not
It was
really.
a disaster for us. And then Miracle went and made it all about himself. The long and short of it is a lot of potential cousins just showed up. Sam's helping some of them, but she's not really going about it the right way. And she's not taking calls from anyone in the family. I let it slip through a mutual friend that I found you, and I was stopping in.
Okay.
It's manipulative, but I'm hoping she'll reach out to you. You can let her know I'm on her side.
No, really.
In the meantime, if you're willing, I can share our files with you. Pass them along to Sam if she reaches out. I'm genuinely hoping she'll realize I'm an ally.
Okay.
Feel free to do your own research. I've been told you enjoy things like this. To each their own.
Let's see this thing now. Possible infidelity 1. Possible infidelity 2. Possible infidelity 3. Family tree update 1998. Okay, that's sort of... I mean, this infidelity and this infidelity are probably gonna be like... up here. With the old folks. Because of how many branches there are. Infidelity. Lots of cheating. Whoa, this family went nuts. How many? Excuse me, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 possible illegitimate children. Or, I mean, at least partners. What does this mean? Like, is possibly before they split up or after they split up, or had this child before they split up and had this child. What's going on here? It's probably like this person's child with this person who's a sibling to this person. Oh, okay. I'm gonna get nut. Okay. Notable events. Today is August 3rd, 1999. It has been 8 months since you helped Sam Manson with the research necessary for her book. ちょっと音落とします。That's fine. Okay. Sam was true to her word and paid you an incredibly large sum of money. She never mentioned you by name, however, so you managed to keep a low profile. The Roottrees, on the other hand, have not. Below was a summary of notable events since the book's release, though you can refresh your memory in full detail by searching online. 6 pieces. Sam Madson's book about the last Roottree was released in February. It was the bestseller for a few months, and this time Carl had not yet been replaced. The Roottrie Rift. In March, the Roottrie company stumbled publicly as they attempted to respond to the book's release, with multiple conflicting press releases and a clear lack of leadership. Clark Rafferty LaRoux. Clark was announced as a permanent successor to Carl Roottrie and welcomed Sam Madsen to the family officially. The company hired an outside legal group to handle the changes to the clan's trust. This included any other new questions of lineage. 5 Ps. After this announcement, there was a rush of different people claiming to be Roottrees, mostly dismissed as opportunists and scammers. The highest profile of these, by a wide margin, was a rapper named Felix Fellows, who changed his moniker to 5 Ps as a publicity move at the same time. 5 Ps is the only notable person in the updated tree. Roottreemania. In another high-profile misstep, Miracle Roottree publicly and vehemently denied that 5 Ps was a Roottree. The Roottree's legal team then offered to do a DNA test to get 5 Ps to drop his claim, and in a moment that caught what seems like entire world by storm, the test proved he was a Roottree. Suddenly, the world was obsessed with Roottrees. Anonymom and Jane Doe Roottree in July. In July, anonymous woman, who the press began to refer to as Anonymom, appeared in interviews with her face and voice disguised. She claimed that an affair with the Roottrie led to birth of her daughter, aka Jane Doe Roottree. If true, this would make her daughter yet another secret Roottree, and therefore entitled to a share of the clan's trust. Nobody knew it at the time, but this would turn out to be the last chapter of the Roottrie saga. As more and more of Anonymom's story came out, people began to notice how much it echoed 5 Ps in nearly every significant way. The card of public opinion began to turn, confirming the world's suspicion. The DNA test, orchestrated by lawyers on both sides, proved that her daughter was not a Roottrie. This final event caused public disappointment, smugness from doubters, and countless accusation of entire ordeal being an elaborate hoax to attempt a fraud. Things got a bit ugly, and the fun of Roottreemania seems to disappear overnight. Now, a month later, it feels like a distant memory. Start here. Previously on The Roottrees Are Dead. Reminders. This is a new investigation with a new focus. After many months of newfound interest in the Roottrees, it is recommended you try to catch up with some of what happened since last time. Some web searches may yield new or different results, and some books and magazines from your previous investigation may be relevant to your new one. Holy crapstick. That's a lot of information to go back to. And some book is also much more widespread search. The list of first and last names you can choose from will contain red herrings. So it's more difficult now. Not all of them will be used. Below is a reminder of some of the most notable beats of your initial dive into the Roottrie family tree. All evidence from before is still available, And for your convenience, any searches that do not lead to new information still function as they did during your first investigation. How is this more convenient? Okay. The Roottrees Candy Company was founded by Elias and Gwyneth many years ago. The entire family has a financial reliance on the health of the company. Most of the action took place in around Butler County, Pennsylvania, where the company was initially located. Elias, Carl, and Raina were on the cover of magazines. Covers, I would say, then. Other notable Roottrees such as Lauren Roottrie, Miracle Roottrie, and Jim Roottrie had physical media such as record albums, books, and movies associated with them. Lauren's two diaries were probably the most useful resources overall, mentioning many of her relatives directly. The 5 pieces Elias's children, as is forgotten here, could be identified based on the initials of the original candy flavors. There were 5 presidents of the Roottrie Company, many were featured in periodicals. Stephanie Jones and Brian Jones were featured in the campaign posters and led to Caroline Marden's art book, which enabled you to find out more of the tree. Many of the younger Roottries were found by following complex rabbit holes through a conspiracy site that led to finding searchable web address for Christopher Lauren's grandson. November Roottrie was really difficult to place. Her occupation could only be found via Brian Jones' company website. Ronald and his brother Robert Roottrie go by Ron and Robbie. Both worked on a TV show called Brother Trouble until Robbie embezzled money and fled to Paris. Ron successfully tried to have Robbie removed from the clan's trust. Sam and her father were cryptically mentioned in a book about historical letters. There are also a few dead ends and red herrings. Aloysius Herring Roottrie, who claimed he was a Roottrie but was not. Family Man, a book about Elias Roottrie, turned out to be propaganda and not useful. Lauren's other books, historical romance novels, were not useful on their own, though it could lead to other information. Caroline Marden's sculptures were not useful. Today, August 3rd, 19, there was a knock at your door. Clark Rafford Leroux, I have no idea how to pronounce his name, the current president of the Roottrie Candy Company, explained that multiple people have come out of the woodwork to claim to be Roottries. He has been trying to work with Sam, but she has not answered his calls. He also handed you a letter that he said you could share with Sam that said the following. To both of you. The company are hired to help us with clan's trust, busy poring through the entire family's history, as well as people they may have had contact with. That said, the family is not particularly happy with this, and are doing their best to slow things down. Many of them are actively avoiding our interviews. Every time there's a high-profile public case, it causes headaches. So please, I don't mind if you do your research, but I ask that you stop going to the press. Instead, we have a highly trained team of lawyers to back you up. We are ready and willing to verify anyone and everyone you believe will be realistically part of a relationship that led to birth of a new Roottrie. Just tell us who to investigate by filling in the new section of the tree, and we'll take the time to handle verifying that the timeline checks out. But keep in mind, why we're here. If someone didn't have a child or has already been disqualified by our lawyers, like in the case of the girl with negative DNA test, there won't be a place for them on the tree. We are not just looking for affairs and infidelities. We are only looking for the ones that led to potential new Roottries. Some spots in the new section will be marked with a tree icon. Those areas are reserved for members of the original family tree you filled in 8 months ago. Oh. Okay. Just like last time, be sure to use birth names for everyone you can add. Married names or nicknames won't be enough. You start sorting out the infidelities. I recommend you turn eyes to the men in positions of power. I'd love to say that's only because it would have been a lot harder for the woman to hide 9 months of pregnancy and birth without the family noticing, but I can't. I'll be blunt. I'm no stranger to infidelity. Yes? I'm sure you're not. I wish I could claim that I was a perfect husband, but you've seen the family tree, so I pretend. Some of us learned how to build our family name and fortune to our benefit. Consequences be damned. I can't change the past or inherit those who have betrayed. Instead, all I can do is be honest with myself and to you, refuse to make any more mistakes, and do my best to sort out the various messes left behind. So please, fill in the tree, and together we can figure out how to begin to make amends. Good luck, and thank you both, Clark. Well, he seems like a nice guy for now. Aware of his mistakes. Okay, let's start with the rapper. Not so. Piece, aka Felix Valor, is a rapper who was found some recent radio play after being publicly confirmed as long-lost Roottrees and entitled to part of their fortune. His alias 5piece is a play on 5 pieces. An article you find on a website known for particularly harsh reviews of modern music gives his most recent album, Root of All Evil, 1 star. Out of 7 for whatever reason. With the headline more poster than my action figure collection. More poser, than my action figure collection. The review mentions his real name is David. Not Felix. And he used to go by Dirty Davy. And the author used the fact that his branding was a blatant marketing stunt at the expense of his mother's tragic past. She overdosed when he was 16. Ooh. Apparently, the only one of songs on the album is new, and the others were simply rewritten to turn blatant reference to sex, drugs, and violence into clumsy euphemisms. His rise to prominence was kick-started when he appeared a few months ago on a cover of Newstime. Holding a photo of his mother with Guy Hudson. At first, the Roottrees company denied it vehemently. Miracle Roottrees even appeared on the same magazine a week later. But since then, they've backtracked and publicly welcomed him to the family. Their press releases at this time stated that they had new evidence that confirmed his story. Newstime is the major news periodical that releases the new issues every week. The rapper 5piece famously appeared on the cover claiming to be a Roottrees. Then, 1 week later, Miracle Roottrees did the same, denying that he was. Because of this high-profile back-to-back discourse right before the start of Roottreemania, they appeared to be a de facto publication to get news about the ongoing Roottrees saga. They reported record subscriber numbers during this time, which lasted until the end of Roottreemania, when the world generally stopped paying much attention and they went back to reporting on more traditional news. Newstime appears to be available via a particular search. Nice. Felix follows, aka 5piece, famously appeared on the cover of Newstime kicking off Roottreemania. Then a week later, Miracle Roottrees appeared on the cover of the magazine. In the article, it focused heavily on 5piece as well. A summary of both articles as well as close-up of the photo of 5piece holding on the cover of the issue have been added to your evidence. Miracle Roottrees appeared on the cover of Newstime, denying that Felix was Roottrees. The article from the issue Miracle on the cover added to your evidence. Thank you. This is for my convenience note. Thank you. Mm. Wonderful Evil is 5P's debut album. According to various sources, the album is mostly material that 5P's recorded for his mixtapes before he became notable, but he re-recorded with lyrical differences and professional production. All Your Problems was the first and only single release. After dropping the single, 5Piece announced he'd retained the infamous celebrity lawyer Stevie Whitlock to sue his family. To date, it doesn't seem like he's followed through. At first, the single didn't make such much of a splash, but Whitlock, known for publicity stunts, paid thousands of teenagers a few dollars an hour to call and request the video on MTV, which is increased in his profile. MTV eventually caught on and banned the video altogether, which in turn received national news coverage and made the song even more popular. The track is the only new song on the album. The subject matter of the song is the hypocrisy of those that claim money is evil. He points out that the only people who think that money is evil are those that have it, that those can afford not to be greedy. In the song, 5Piece triumphantly talks about taking the Roottrees' wealth due to it being his birthright and giving it to those who need it most. You find a copy of song on a suspicious-looking website and download it for your records. Oof, I'm already excited. Stevie Whitlock is a lawyer with a history of publicity stunts and grandstanding. Still, she's managed to rack up quite a few legal victories for C-list celebrities and athletes. Okay, English. She became famous in the mid-1980s after successfully suing a multinational sandwich company whose 12-inch subs were actually an average of 11.5 inches long. Stevie argued that since the company sold 1 billion sandwiches per year, that was enough missing sandwich to make a sub long enough to span from New York to Los Angeles. The jury awarded her a paltry $5,000, but the news coverage of her crusade turned out to be priceless. Fortunately, none of this seems related to the Roottrees. Okay. Let's see. Well, hello there, Felix. Could this rapper be the next Sam Matson? 5Piece, aka Felix Follows, appeared on the cover of Newsstand holding a photo of his mother. I want this photo though. And Guy Hudson. The article concerns his insistence that his father was Guy Hudson. The story was dramatic and sensational, and initially dismissed as fake, until a DNA test proved that he was related to Guy Hudson. Pepe said that his mother Joanna was Throckmorton's secretary when he died. Retired. And then Guy Hudson's secretary for the next 2 weeks after that before she quit. The first weeks that he was president. His parents divorced when he was 4 after his father learned of the affair. Felix and his mother then moved to Portland because she was afraid for her and her son's life. He grew up with her until he was 16, but one day his mother never came home from the movie rental store where she worked at the register. The next morning, they found her dead from an overdose in her car. She had stolen all the cash from her drawer and spent it on heroin. Ouch. As Felix went through her belongings, the only things he had to remember her were a hairbrush she always used, some photos, and a stuffed animal from her childhood. But then he found it, a box hidden in the back of her closet. Inside were love letters and photos related to Guy Hudson, as well as letter from his father containing threats. He threw it all away, with the exception for the one photo he appears with on the cover of Newstime. Why the frick would you throw it all away? He says it was the only one where they were dressed. The only one not from the affair itself. The picture is shown in full inside the magazine and was added to your evidence. Thank you. The magazine also includes some additional history about 5P's career. You need to put S's in here. Felix Follows was born in to Riley and Jenna Follows, nice, but has never rapped without a moniker. He tried to find success by opening for other artists and even by selling CDs on street corners of Portland. He has only recently started going as 5Ps to harness the power of his lineage. The writer did some research into the truth of these claims and was able to confirm that Joanna did work for the Roottrees company as secretary sometime during the early to mid-70s. It also confirms she died of a drug overdose and that Felix went into foster care soon after. They were unable to track down his father. They also reached out to the Roottrees company, but at the moment the company's blanket statement was, since the release of a recent book, Roottrees has seen an overwhelming number of these false ancestral claims. None have been factual, and nearly all have been knowingly dishonest. We encourage individuals to reach out to us in an official capacity as opposed to attempting to use our name in the media for publicity. Just in case there's anything to see. Which one is this, Miracle? Interesting effect to put his face into the glasses, though. Charlatans and thieves. Miracle Roottrees appeared on the cover of Newstime shortly after 5Ps did. He vehemently denied that 5Ps were Roottrees. There's articles from before the DNA test that proved it. Miracle doesn't focus on the details of 5Ps. See, now you are using this accusations regarding his mother and Guy Hudson. Instead, he comes across as exhausted at the events that had been going on behind the scenes, as well as the character of those he feels are attacking his family. He starts with 6 pieces content. He says that although most of the book was based on fact, it left out anything that wouldn't fit the agenda. He points out Sam's daughter still earns a generous salary from overseeing the farm division of Roottrees, and that Sam did the same before her. That Sam's family was not destitute, and that really it was only her son who chose to take on a job with no salary. He claims that though they didn't have to, the family helped pay her son's medical bills after voting that it was the right thing to do. Miracle also says that the story about his father, Elias, shunning EC was one-sided, leaving out Edward Clancy's blame in the whole thing. Elias gave him a simple ultimatum: stop sinning or be disowned. Stop being gay, or I'll disown you, says father. Miracle says it was EC's own choice to be gay, and that Elias allowing him to earn food and shelter in the company dime was a kindness, especially considering that he and John continued to live together. Miracle then pivots to the fallout from 6 pieces. He recounts the deluge of claims that the clans trust that the family have been subjected to. He doesn't cite any specifics, but says that every time someone comes forward, the family devolves into arguments. They've had to hire an outside legal team to help, but so far, every case has been demonstrably laughably false. All they do is tarnish the family's reputation. He focuses on 5Bs who appears in newest time. Before him, he calls him a grifter and delinquent and says that he is using their name and products to sell filth to the masses. Of all the accusation, he says this is the most dangerous because it exposes the world to hatred. He cites 5B's lyrics as violent, sexist, and ungodly, and prays the boy will repent, retract his lies, and find religion. Do you know where you can show your religion? Lastly, he turns to the future. Miracle states that those that wish to hear the true story can join him on his farewell tour this upcoming fall. The Miracle is planning the touring the country's churches one last time, and that now at age 71, Miracle is the oldest living Roottrie. Well, he plans to continue preaching at his own church in Butler County after the tour. This is your last chance to hear the truth from the man with the most complete recollection of one of America's most notable families in your own hometown. The article mentioned Miracle's son, Miracle Jr., did not wish to comment, and has a statement from Clark Ruffalo, through the Roottrees law firm. Miracle does not speak for his entire family. We're working carefully on a plan to definitely disprove any claims of infidelity in our family's past. The article also does not refute Miracle's claim that he is the oldest living Roottrie, despite Sam Edson being born the year before him. It was unclear if Miracle made the claim out of ignorance or spite. Ugh. Okay. That's what we are going to find. Was released in 1999 and perhaps assisted by the still relatively recent plane crash, shot to the top of the charts. Reviews were mixed and its time on the bestsellers list was limited to only 2 months. Most reviewers agreed that the core of the book about Samantha's fathers and the struggles they faced was compelling and that the takedown of the hypocrisy of Elias Roottrie was deserved. However, many took umbrage with the timing of the release and the tone of the book, which seemed vindictive. The fallout from the book led to the Roottrie Company scrambling to release a statement, and due to a conflict of leadership, famously released multiple conflicting official statements over 3 days. This confusing move was referenced in popular culture due to a late-night sketch about indecisionist, but more traditional analysts have been calling it the Roottrie Rift. A few months later, due to Roottreemania, the book re-entered the charts. Actually, search this as well. And sold even better than the first time. Sam Madson's book was released earlier this year and details the truth about Elias Roottrie, as well as Sam's fathers Edward Clancy Roottrie and John Miller. You helped verify her story, so much of the book's core contents are familiar to you. That said, Sam has some sections of other family secrets and rumors. Much of it didn't matter to the primary purpose of the book, and some of it is new to you and may be important in your search. This section have been onto your notes. Nice. Roottreemania immediately followed the announcement that a rapper going by the 5Bs were actually Roottrie. Collectively, popular culture seems to focus on Roottrie family for a few weeks before everything felt oversaturated and society moved on. Because of the 5Bs saga, the underlying through line to how pop culture threatened Roottreemania was an excuse for everyday people to claim they were also Roottrees. Daytime talk shows had secret episodes. Late night host guests made jokes about other lost members of the family, and there was a widely shared website where you could fill in your own name to find if you're a secret Roottrie. When you submit your name, you simply said no, with the image of Clark Roottrie giving you the finger. This is a nice touch. Come. Indecisionitis. Huh? Indecisionitis. Excuse me, I finally read the word. But the disease coined by a popular sketch show with a part of the fake pharmaceutical advertisement for Jit Together. While the segment isn't fully about Roottrie Candy Company, it was released in the weeks after their bizarre response to the release of 6 Pieces by Sam Madsen, in reference to the recent news. In the sketch, a woman ordered the number 5 at a drive-through speaker. Then, after pulling forward, she changed her mind in the window, asking to switch to number 3. This caused a lengthy pickup and annoyance among the restaurant's employees and other patrons. After she pulled away, as an employees began helping other customers, the same woman then barged into the restaurant and passed the current line, loudly complaining that she didn't receive her number 5. After this, the sketch transitioned from a restaurant scene to a pharmaceutical commercial. A doctor claims that the woman was suffering from indecisionitis, a disease that causes extreme confusion and irritability, and has recently been found to severely hinder the leaders of large corporations, but could also spread to humans. Because these are not humans in their nature. The doctor then recommends Jit Together, a fake pharmaceutical drug. Multiple testimonials use variations of the catchphrase, "When I can't make my tough decisions, I've got to get my Jit together." Get your shit together. Get your Jit together. The final testimonial included a bald man in silhouette with a voice changer saying, "I'm not comfortable sharing who I am, but I'm comfortable saying that before I took over my family's candy company, I really should have gotten my Jit together." Clark. Nice. The 3 press releases from the Roottrie Candy Company after the release of 6 Pieces were referred to as the Roottrie Rift due to the clear conflicts between them. The first was fairly standard. It stated that there was no president of the Roottrie Company, but that the entire family was made aware of the release of the book and that they would be meeting as soon as possible. Only then could they verify the legitimacy of the claims it raised and decide next steps. The second release was emailed to business newspapers 3 hours later and announced that after a vote, Ron Roottrie would be taking over the company as an interim president. Which one is Ron? The movie maker? It also went to the state that Ron was aware of the book, had verified the claims within, and would look into compensating Mrs. Madsen and her family immediately. It also stated that the company lawyers would be taking immediate steps with the family to revisit the clan's trust terms to make sure nothing like this could happen again. It was quickly clear to business reporters' analysis that the time between the 2 pieces press releases would not have been logistically sufficient to gather a majority of the family, even using conference calls. This was reported to many news channels, and the third, much shorter press release came the next day. It claimed that the draft of the announcement was made prematurely, and that Clark, Rafferty, LaRoe, and Roottrie would be taking over the company's the company's first joint presidents. It also stated any compensation planned would be based on a stringent verification process. Okay. tree. You also probably should search the company again to see if anything new games comes up. If he's the only notable in here, so this is gonna be him. Ooh, they make it so much more difficult now. Fuck you, game. Now I can't look up the full name by looking half of the name. I don't like it. It was nice and easy before. First affair. Oh, Guy Hudson? Guy Hudson? Well, Guy Hudson. Look at you. Where's the family? Recover. But this is her. This is her married name, isn't it? She'd probably have a different name. Not you. Not yet. Riley. They divorced, so he's also probably not fellows anymore. Although who knows, sometimes they keep fathers. No, he is fellows. Why, Felix? Is it time to go into the book? Also, let's go into the music first. This is the only single of 5P's album, Root of All Evil. It received some airplay, but didn't make a big splash critically or commercially, still kind of catchy.
Attention, Roottrees. This is 5P's coming at you from the real world. You know, the place you ain't ever lived in.
You say money is a root
Who's on the vocals?
of all your problems. Root of all your
Man,
problems.
y'all are hypocrites, sitting back in your massive estates, built from the cash that your ancestors gave you, acting like you somehow deserve it, based on your family's creations. Yo, but looky here, sonny, don't you come for our money, or you might burn bright in hellfire someday, like that Madsen chick and her two dads. My pappy's cleansing trust should keep you away. Yo, it's disturbing, catching a sermon from a geezer who's never known hurt, but blurts out these claims that somehow we're sinners, cause we didn't earn it, when all of your worth it came free with your name. You expect me to treat your lectures on greed as some expert creed from he without blame. How about instead, I turn my other cheeks and spread them when you give me a kiss, you know just where to aim.
You say money is a root of all your problems. Let me take those problems away.
Whoever calls dollars the root of all evil, just trying to make small pursuits of real people. You silver spoon feeds you the world's purest treacle, while real world folks burning spoons for the needle. So once more with passion, tell this poor tragic orphan how your mansions and Porsches are actually horrible. How I'm better off penniless, grasping for morsels. How wanting my share, that's actually extortion. With your candy ass name, synonymous with sweets. Oh, you wanna call me classless? I'm gangster from Portland, but I play that game. I came up on the streets, the only streets you reppin' are Park Place and Boardwalk. Hypocrisy, monopoly is toppling. When I knock, have G's top off my pockets, please. Cause the same God that got to steal my mom from me is what he wants, right? For you to live in poverty. And if you're suddenly not eager to unhand that fortune, that's unfortunate. I guess I'm gonna have to take my portion, and I'll do it all legally. Class action, courtroom, decorum. I'm way past your fancy ass dormant.
You say money is a root of all your problems. Let me take those problems away.
Bring the choir in.
You say money is a root of all your problems. Let me take those problems away.
Yeah.
You say money is a root of all your problems. Let me take those problems away.
Whoever calls dollars the root of all evil, just trying to make small pursuits of real people. You silver spoon feeds you the world's purest treacle, while real world folks burning spoons for the needle. Whoever calls dollars the root of all evil, just trying to make small pursuits of real people. You silver spoon feeds you the world's purest treacle, while real world folks burning spoons for the needle. Whoever calls dollars.
You go, Dirty Davy. Dirty Davy. I like it. 6 pieces. Unwrapping America's Sweetest Family. Okay. Sam's book has a few different passages about her own history of the company and the rumors and gossip she collected during her tenure. She ran the farm for a period starting in 1968 after the death of Elias Roottrees until her daughter Gwyneth took over in 1984. Most of the relevant rumors coincide with the reign of Guy Hudson, of course they do, who took over as president in 1978. Sam was very much not a fan of Guy, and according to 6 pieces, it was an open secret when the family the Guy was very much not a fan of remaining faithful to his wife Patricia. Many of the heirs at the time were young single women, and Guy often spent a lavish money on private parties. This was 20 years ago, and Sam warns that most of it is hearsay. Still, you find the following information that may be relevant. One of Sam's farm supervisors was named Elizabeth. Elizabeth had a daughter who Sam never met, but who worked as one of Guy's secretaries. According to Elizabeth, a caterer from a local restaurant called Antonelis made her daughter at one of Guy's parties, and they eloped quickly due to a pregnancy. Elizabeth wasn't aware that the party was for swingers. Ooh. Rumor has it that her daughter showed up with Guy and didn't seem comfortable switching partners. Guy's main positive contribution to the company involved expanding the markets previously untapped by Roottrees. However, when he went on trip overseas, they were often for weeks at a time, and Guy was known for spending more time and money on official business than meeting with distributors and manufacturers. It was said that he bribed at least one politician to open a factory in Brazil. There's also a section where some speculate that Elias may have also cheated on Gwyneth. Gwyneth was always much kinder to Sam than Elias was, and was the first to invite Sam to family events. While she was no hard evidence, Sam always got the impression that Gwyneth was able to coerce Elias into allowing Sam back into the family using some kind of leverage, instead of it being a natural course of events. She mentioned that Elias and Gwyneth were known to loudly argue, sometimes about another woman. Sam also says her son Ernie once asked her who's Beth because he overheard them yelling about someone with that name. As far as Sam knows, Elias had once had a secretary named Elizabeth, a different Elizabeth, from the supervisor from the farm, but she never met her. Too many Elizabeths. Let's go Google Guy everywhere. For now. Google Guy Hudson. This is a newer. Guy Hudson, who was only president of Roottrees for a few years, late 80s and early 70s and early 80s, had mostly faded into obscurity, except for the fancy Farrow's debacle. During Roottreemania, he suddenly rose to prominence again after 5 Ps appeared on the cover of magazine holding a photo of Guy and his mother. A few people that existed just into the company's 70s have come forward with stories about debauchery and swinger parties. Guy liked to throw large holiday parties whenever he had an excuse, and they often got very out of hand. The fact that led some people speculate the night he died in a car crash he was drunk or impaired in some way, but the Butler County Police have released multiple statements and ample evidence that proves decidedly that it was not foul play, and that no party had taken place. Roottrees lawyers have been quick to threaten allegation to anyone who has tried to disparage Guy and company in public. Guy Hudson, who was the president of Roottrees for that's the same article, just reloaded. This is the same. As it was. Eight months ago. There are arbiters, no French husbands, my Patricia dying in a car accident. Spell that in all details due to the facts. Godson's scar. Look, I was somewhat controversial president of all places expected. Elizabeth. There are large number of names in restaurants, not because it's chain, just because it seems to be a common name. Hello. Detective game, yes. It's a third part of this game, when we use clues to uncover family mysteries. Local stores, you say? Antonelis. Excuse me. Just had some time off right now, which is rare. That sucks. Enjoy your time off. It is a very interesting game to play. It also has a very great soundtrack and original songs. I'm kind of very impressed. I'm kind of very impressed by the creative aspect of this game. I think it's very well made. Antonelli is an Italian restaurant and has been in Butler County twice. The most recent time was when it closed in 1992. The owner, Rochelle Zimmer, sold the land the building was on at the time of the article. She wasn't sure if the restaurant would move to a new location if she would retire. Many years before that, there was a puff piece from Valentine's Day in 1978 that asked recently married resident of Butler County how they met. Christine Garland responded she and her husband Steve, who was with Jeff and Ty's met years ago when she delivered produce from her mother's farm. Steve used to work extra hours just to be there during her deliveries. Although they grew apart when the restaurant reached suppliers, they were connected by chance and eloped at the end of last year. Now she has a bun in the oven and they're both working as much as they can. She's a secretary but went back to delivering produce on the weekends, trying to save up money to move to Boston and open their own new restaurant. Enjoying the stream while drinking hot cocoa? Nice. I was thinking about having some cocoa today. Also, to be honest, mostly because I had a tiny bottle of some sort of coconut liquor I have not tried, which is like a tiny bottle of some strange coconut thing. And I was thinking I should make myself hot chocolate with this and then this coconut liquor into it in the evening. Maybe I shall do that. I think this is connected to this. Elizabeth. This. So let's say, excuse me, Christine Garland is gonna be one of these affair partners. I wish we had their like birth and death. I just moved something from a different screen. Birth and death years is what I'm trying to say. Let's try googling her. Probably not. Yeah, she's not a prominent person, so probably not gonna have much success. her. Possible infidelity. Yeah, if I... wait a second. Oh, there's rain in the game and I thought water was outside the game in my apartment. Anyway, basically in the first part of the game, what happens is this family dies accidentally. And we are asked to find out all other family members, and they're like filling this whole family tree one by one from clues and like news articles. So we basically went on and filled in the whole family tree in the first 2 streams to find out who's a blood relative or not and stuff like that. After we completed this and found out the story of the family, we now have a bonus episode when basically more and more people started to come out and saying, I am also related to this family. I am also related to this family. And this guy came out and says, my mother had an affair with this guy, and I'm actually his son. So I'm entitled to some money from the family. And the DNA proved that he was right. And now the current head of the family came to us and said we need to find out about any other possible affairs and like children that would have come out from affairs. So we have like infidelity 1, infidelity 2. It says infidelity 3, but also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 possible women, apparently, and all the possible children, apparently. And then this whole mess, and we just need to like follow clues to find out who's who fornicated with whom. I was looking for a word and couldn't find a better word. With whom, and how many more possible family members can they have? And then the problem is that this guy alone has like 5 possibilities, but then there are these, like who, what, like what. What's going on here is my problem. Let's search this one thing. Anonymum was the second high-profile case after Felix Fellows of potential new Roottrees being added to Clan's trust. Also just need to Google trust again. Instead of claiming herself a Roottries, however, she claimed she slept with Kai Hudson and that her daughter was a Roottries. The accusation came during the height of Roottreemania and began with a brief TV interview. She appeared in the shadows with a disguised voice and promoted an article about herself in Newstown. In the TV interview and the article, she referred to her daughter as Jane Doe Roottries. The name Anonymum was not self-inflicted. It seemed to spring up organically because nobody knew how else to refer to her. The day after the news article, Sam Madsen publicly supported Anonymum due to some parts of the story she found particularly credible. With the momentum from Sam's endorsement, Anonymum went on media blitz. Ultimately, this backfired. As more details came out, people became skeptical of her story due to extreme similarity to 5 pieces. Her accusation even included many of the same details as his mother's story. This included her job secretary and this time period, late 70s. After fumbling 5-piece stories to public, the Roottrees were more prepared to handle all Clan's trust-related cases. Within a week, a DNA test proved that Anonymum's daughter could not be related to the Roottrees. This was announced at a joint press conference with lawyers presenting both Anonymum and the Roottrees. Each party ensured their respective clients provided accurate samples. Immediately after the negative results were released, many of those who had already been skeptical felt vindicated. Others, who had built up hope that history could repeat itself after 5 Ps, felt duped. Many people suspected the whole affair had been a hoax to gain fame and money. Many demanded that Anonymum had be held accountable, and some people even began to attempt to track down her true identity. The Roottrees company felt pressured to put out a second statement to try to curb some of the backlash, and even going so far to say, though it was scientifically proven that Jane the Roottrie is not Roottrie, this does not mean that her mother and Guy Hudson were not involved in an affair. She had every right to make her claim, as it had been verified that her stories about Guy Hudson were not exaggerations. Please leave their family alone. Many people claim this high-profile anticlimax and public backlash was the beginning of the end of Roottreemania, since much of the fun was the shared fascination with secret Roottrees. Others think that, like any fad, it just ran its course naturally. Regardless, this was the final notable event related to the release of 6 pieces, and things soon went back to normal. John Roottrie has already been eliminated as potential new Roottrees by the company's lawyers, who are now once verifying your work. Anonymous if it does not appear in your update 3. How do we... That's not what I meant to do. The client's trust Roottrie company is an unusual legal arrangement, the motivation for most of their major financial decisions. As a recap, the entire family earns inheritance directly from the profits of the candy company, as well as their sister clothing company Root, with Beard. This means that nearly every Roottrie can potentially have a say in the company's high-level operations. Historically, this has caused the family to be slow to approve any major expenditure. Oh my god, I'm just breaking apart today. This could significantly dig into the profits. After the release of 6 pieces by Sam Madsen, the clan's trust became under heavy scrutiny. Sam, her children, her grandchildren should have all been covered under the trust, according to the wording revealed during the internal family conflict between Ron and Robbie Roottrie. It seems that those who wrote the trust, Clancy Edward Roottrie and the direction of Elias Roottrie, purposely deceived the rest of the family about the exact details of how it worked, in an attempt to keep Sam and her father Edward Clancy, his own twin brother, in comparative poverty. Because the rest of the family made money hand over fist, they had very little motivation to question their understanding. Sam's book revealed this to the public, and it did not go over well. Clark Raffaello took over the company, and his most celebrated move was his first official one. He ensured Sam's family would get their share. To help facilitate this, the inheritance aspect of the trust is now under the control of third party, Ruby Legal Enterprises. This ensures that the financial motivations of Roottrie family members will not interfere with the investigation to potential new Roottries. According to Clark's letter, however, some family members are still doing their best to slow investigation by refusing to answer questions. Money is always involved. There's a great song about money we just found at the beginning of this game. Local bookmark. Steve Garland. Okay, let's go in order. Mark Zimmer. search. Kitchen Tales was a story-based recipe book credited to Mark Zimmer that had some success as it was featured in a morning talk show. The book released before the internet was widespread, so mentions are rare. One book collector states that publishers were unprepared for the demand, and that there was no second printing, so it's unusual to find a copy in the wild. You find an alternative medicine website which focuses on cooking with natural ingredients. It mentions that one of Kitchen Tales' recipes used salt water. The owner of the site has included a scan of that recipe which was added to your evidence. She says, if you switch out the salt water in the recipe for a mix of 2/3 spring water and 1/3 filtered seawater, it tastes great. What the hell is going on here? All of them were from advertisement. Okay. Steve Garland is mentioned in a couple of articles. The first was an article about how he met his wife Christine when he worked on journalists. The second is from his mother Slater, September 1987, listing for his weekend's cooking classes. Gourmet with a groovy. The blurb mentions that he's been giving lessons from his home kitchen for the last month, so that he can keep an eye on his son. The third was from 91 and is titled Local Author Sued by Former Butler County Resident. This seems the local author by the name of Mark Zimmer was sued by Garland after Garland saw Zimmer promoting his book Kitchen Tales on television. His recipe book was partially plagiarized from the recipes that Steve Garland would give his students during his cooking lessons before he moved. The article mentioned that although recipes are hard to copyright, Garland accompanied each recipe with a short fiction about how he learned it. This usually doubled as a way to remember certain ingredients. Garland's bean salad, for example, involved making trade with known for some magic beans. Apparently, these stories were found word for word in Zimmer's cookbook, in addition to additional stories that followed the same format. Kitchen Tales. No, wrong. We go Kitchen Tales here. So complicated. Eh? If it's released, why is it not in? Different name. Okay, then we. Oh, to Garland and Zimmer. It was released in 94. It actually quite successful after the two appeared in promoted daytime talk show. There have been multiple printings since, according to a book review. Recipes are accompanied by stories to help reader remember the ingredients. The reviewer says that it seems perfect learning cook with entire family. So, how would we? The introduction of this book is a series of acknowledgements from Steve. The first is, Christine, thank you for everything. Your support means the world to me. You're apple of my pie. The second is to James and Robert. You're becoming amazing men, incredible chefs. I guess I'm good teacher. That would be the children, I think, probably. The final is to Mark Zimmer. Every time I read this surname, I'm like, Hans, music. The final is to Mark Zimmer. You proved my storytelling broached recipes could be popular. Without you, this book wouldn't exist. There's also a foreword by Mark Zimmer. I first met Steve in 1978 when he taught a cooking class. The next time I saw him was over a decade later when he was suing me for stealing his recipes. Yes, really. So you might wonder what I'm doing in this introduction. Well, it turns out that Steve and I had more in common than we thought. Instead of settling in court, we settled at my parents' brew house over a game of darts. They said they'd give us the first drink of the night free for an entire year for mentioning them. By the end of the game, he and I agreed that both rather make a ton of money together and spend a ton of money on lawyers. It's pretty rare to meet your best friend so late in life, but when I decided to retire, I moved to Boston just so we could hang out. So if you're browsing this book in a bookstore, please buy our book. We need more money for when free beers runs out, and the bookstore could probably use this sale. Okay. I'm pretty sure they're all somewhere around here. Christine probably had an affair with possibly Guy. And then 2 sons, either here or here. Oh, this first affair, final affair, okay. So apparently. I also have to know the order somehow. Yeah, the music is very nice in this game. Oh, thank you. Pub in Boston, they have a website where the bar has been around a long time. On the site there's a list of most people who have a drink here, including former President of the United States, no, the Roottrees. Kennedy. There's also a few listings, television shows, and books have mentioned my parents, as well as how they came up. So go grab Biden, his kids joined Friday, and then swing by to meet him for a trade. The hell is this? What am I? Okay. Is a family used in Boston. They don't have a website. Many locals seem to mention them various places. One more in-depth review explained that it's not a full restaurant, just the front door and a very small interior with a window. Unusually, the restaurant only serves vegetables, but a lot of reviews say that in spite of that, it's delicious. There's also a fun short story on this website called My Boston Homepage. Whoever runs the page seems to just link to random sites related to Boston, tell personal anecdotes related to Boston, give their relatively short opinions on things in Boston. It's very unorganized. It has this to say about fried eye. A wicked overrated. I saw it in Chef's signature, so I went there, and there was a huge line, and they didn't have a single meat dish. What's even the point? Well, I think the vegetarian cuisine is the point. Fried eye. The chef's signature covered fried eye less than a year ago, right around the time you were doing your initial investigation. Each article in Chef's signature tends to focus on a restaurant, and like the magazine's name implies, each restaurant lists the one main dish, and the head chef is known for. Fried eye signatures the samosa cone. The cover main article went to evidence. So these gonna be the 2 sons of someone. Can a vegetarian die and be trendy? Sitting down with the Garlands, the new boys in Boston. it's 1998, actually. London's Wilson. There's gonna be some connection to control, probably. Chef's nationally published magazine targeted towards fans and usual restaurants features James and Robert Garland. Nice. At least we now know their names, we just don't know where to put them on the board. On the cover, November 98 issue, according to the article, the two brothers own a small wall cup window in Boston called Friday and play on the tie-dye shirts that the servers wear. They exclusively serve vegetarian dishes. Most of the offerings are heavily inspired by the powerful spices found in Thai and Indian food. Their signature dish is a samosa cone, which from a distance somewhat resembles traditional ice cream, complete with waffle pattern. I'm getting so hungry right now. Instead of it contains fried potatoes, pureed peas, carrots, and a special ginger-based sauce. Bruh, sounds very good. Robert, who is 3 years younger than James, jokes that although the age difference has left him delegated to wear a sous chef jacket in his full life, he doesn't mind. As a result, James answers most of the interviewer's questions. James credits his love for food and his curious gifts they're bringing. Most kids hate vegetables growing up, but they don't have parents like we did. My father was a chef, and my mother grew up on a farm that supplied his restaurant. That's how they met. I don't have any memories from the farm or anything like that since we moved here before I could even talk. But they told me stories. My dad's a great storyteller. He even wrote a book that partially helped find Friday. When we moved, they were looking to open their own restaurant together. Unfortunately, they never got it off the ground. His line cook gig ended up being less temporary than he hoped, and she had to go back to work as secretary even after Robert was born. Before we were old enough to go to school, we spent our days with my aunt. In the diner where he worked, my dad had no room for experimenting, so he'd exercise his skills at home for his days off. We'd always go shopping and cook as a family on those days, and even though we were hyper kids running around and causing ruckus, those were some of our family's favorite memories since we were all together. Mom always had the eye for best vegetables for him to work with, and she did her best to pass that on to us. According to the article, their parents, who are now retired, visit Friday often. They often have a signature dessert, the Sistine apple. Apple pie has always been my mom's favorite, and my dad always has this stupid line he uses to make her laugh involving apple pie. Most people realize it's a Sistine Chapel pun and assume that's all there is to it, but actually secret names after them, sort of. Good night. I hope you have a great dinner. I'm starting to think that there is math to do here. And the problem is I'm terrible at math. We know well, I think since their parents are not divorced, we might as well put them in here. Bernadette Christine, there it is. Who was her mother? Elizabeth. Elizabeth. Antonellis. The Plated Loaf. Kitchen Tale is a book that combines recipes and stories. It had mild popularity but seemed to disappear from the marketplace as 1992. We found a scan of one story of website that demonstrates how to bake a plated loaf. For years, two bakers, Flora and Yates, flirted. They grew their friendship, compared recipes, and combined knowledge. She loved his salt and pepper beard. He adored her rosemary cheeks. They thought sweetly about one another. But he was one day whisked away, conscripted to bake an army's bread. By the oil of the lamp, Flora's tears began to salt her bread. The recipe asked the reader to combine flour, yeast, sugar, olive oil, and rosemary, combine the salt and water together, and add the mixture and whisk until the dough begins to form. It was 10 to 12 years later that they met again, seemingly by fate. Flora's unique dough had earned her position in the king's personal baker. Yates had found success as well. He baked for the kingdom's 45 diplomats. One day they returned from Dutch islands with a gift, 450 unbaked loaves, and were sent to the palace bakery to teach a method required no kneading. Allow the dough to cook for 10 to 12 hours, then spread it out and let it sit 45 minutes in floured baking sheet next to Dutch oven preheat 45 degrees. And apparently there are 2 hints in here and I have no idea. Let's start with children though. Robert Garland. Which one is which? James Garland. Chef. Show me the picture. The clothes are supposed to be the hand, but Appa. Nice. These 4 entries are correct and have been locked.